every day. So it's a lot of new like crack people. Um, and yeah, it's interesting to like see all of these new faces. And once you like meet a person, it's like, oh, this is some new guy, and then you get to know them, and you realize this is like a really this could be a really good friendship, which is great.
I love it. Look, my friend, I want to get through the intro background with you super quickly because like we don't want to focus on the path. Lovable is all about the future. And from my research, right, from what I understand, you are the youngest person ever in history to be working at $1 billion company, a unicorn. So congratulations. I think that's freaking amazing. 16 years old. Tell me all about it. Like give me some intro, give me some background.
Yeah. So I mean, I've always loved building stuff. I built a lot with Legos when I was a kid, and played a lot of Minecraft and such. But when I was around 11, I got computers to my school, and nobody in my class wanted to do schoolwork on these computers. Everybody wanted to play games. But my school had blocked the IP address to all these websites like Pac-Man and such where you could play the game, so no one was able to do that. And then me and a friend found out about this platform called Scratch, where you could build your own games just by like dragging and dropping uh, blocks built to like try to emulate code, but in a way that's understandable for a little child. And we started building our own games in Scratch and like let the other kids play them. And like that feeling of seeing someone use something that I've built and like put my love into was really amazing. And so I wanted to keep doing that, right? So I started like programming, getting more into like learning Python and such. And I eventually stumbled upon AI around some years after the Alpha Zero release. So I played a lot of chess. So I got like interested in
Oh,
Alpha Zero and
interesting.
like, yeah.
Really interesting. That's
Uh,
very early.
yeah, yeah, I think Alpha Zero was released 2000. I think I found out about like AI in the first place around 2021,
Hmm.
maybe later, a couple years after Alpha Zero. But that's how I got into AI. And then like when GPT-3 was released, but mainly like GPT 3.5 with ChatGPT, I felt like now I have gathered all these skills and I want to apply them to something and do something with them. So I started building like a ChatGPT wrapper startup, which was AI customer service platform for e-commerce brands, like super random. I had no experience in the e-commerce industry like whatsoever, but I kind of tried, and I got a couple brands like interested in the service. And I think it's a lot like when you see I was 14 at that time, and like when people see this like young kid like trying to get into their space, they want to help
Hmm.
like naturally. And so yeah, that's been great.
Tell me a little bit about growth and engineering, right? Like, obviously, Lovable is moving at an incredible pace right now, right? You're scaling like no one's business. The $200 million round, valuing it over like I think it's 1.4, 1.7 billion. When you, what's your thesis on growth and engineering internally? Like, what's the vibe? How are you thinking about it?
Yeah, I mean we've have to do like a lot of first principles thinking, like these days when AI and technology is moving so fast, you can't look at like the old frameworks and how other companies are doing it. Like we look at the kind of tech companies of the 2010s, and like their all of their strategies and everything is outdated. Yeah, it's invent new kind of teams and frameworks for
Because
Lovable to
everything's
operate in.
moving at such pace, right? Like you're almost rewriting the playbook for what it means for growth, what it means for engineering today. And do you take inspiration from companies like first principle thinking as like a SpaceX as an example? It's like let's get it out there. Let's really think from first principles, but then also at the same time look at the tech companies and try and go like, how do we build a base understanding of like what we can build on top of, but also an infrastructure that allows us, or a scaffolding that allows us to scale super fast.
I think we have had some growth pains, like adding more people. But I mean, like we've focused a lot, is like in our engineering efforts, like talking a lot to users and like having focus on just making the current user experience as great as possible, compared to like a lot of other companies that we see today in AI as well, that like spread their focus very thin and thus don't actually make like one actually really great product. And that's kind of what we're trying to do.
I've got to ask, how do you make Lovable lovable? There are
Yeah.
like little bits in it. For example, when you log in, it says signed most recently signed in with like the Google login or the Apple login. Like these small nuances, I find sort of add delightment to the product. Do you go out of your way to do that, or is that something that just happens because it's just the culture internally?
That's a great question, and we've gotten like a lot of love from the community and people because of that feature. And I mean, it's kind of when you create a space for people to be creative, those kinds of things naturally come, and it's like we don't really have a problem that we have too few ideas that we want to do and like too a few paths to pursue, but it's more that we have too many and they have to say no to a lot of things. But but yeah, it's a lot like you think, okay, what would I find like? Do you like you always have to think from a user's perspective,
Do you
and
use
I think
Lovable
this,
in your like in your daily workflow?
yeah, we basically all of the people at Lovable internally use it. Whether it's like designers, I know the designers use it a lot. We have one guy who was like he built. He added a feature, I don't remember what it was, but to Lovable, and it's like, fuck, now I've basically automated my job and the designers don't need me anymore. One of the and it's like the designers use it a lot to like prototype faster, and we use it a lot for like internal tools, visualizing stuff. So it's used a lot internally as well.
What are you most proud of about the product? Is there a specific feature? Is there something that it's done incredibly well compared to others? What are you most proud of?
Um, yeah, I think I, I'm really proud of like the feeling and brand that Lovable gives. Like I think all of the other like vibe coding platforms, if you want to say so, they 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 don't really give you a kind of feeling. It's just they kind of pretty like I really love the design of Lovable, because I think it emulates a lot of our culture internally, as well. So I'm really proud of like the brand and design that we have built up around Lovable.
Why did you want to work there? Of all of these, hyperscalable companies that are in the Nordics right now, why does Lovable the one for you? Why did it feel like home?
Yeah, I mean, I've known Anton for the founder for a couple years now, and I just knew that I think that he has like a unique skill in attracting talent that I don't think a lot of other people in the world has, and that's basically the reason why we have grown so fast, because like all these amazing people he's been able to get her. So it's like I want to kind of be under that leadership.
What did you like about him, like that relationship that you've built over the last couple of years? What made you gravitate towards him outside of just exceptional talent?
Yeah, I think he's put a lot of his own values onto Lovable, and I think that's kind of how you build a generational company. You put your own cultural values on your environment rather than taking the values from the environment and putting them on you. And I think we've because of the companies and we've set up, which I think is great.
I love it. Look, I want to talk a little bit about you, about the ecosystem in the Nordics and the quote unquote entrepreneurship or lack of it that exists there. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, we've got some incredible companies cropping up across all of the new Nordics. Like, as someone who's like in the thick of it right now, what do you see amongst your peers, amongst growing up? Like, where does the drive come from, or if there is one, do you have to find it yourself?
I I think generally it's always gonna be that you kind of have to find it yourself somehow, and but it definitely helps. And like we have Klarna, we have Skype, we have Spotify, King. Like there's a ton of companies coming out from Sweden and Finland and Denmark and Norway as well. But I think like seeing those companies really motivate you to like it's definitely possible. Like I think back in 2020 we had this company that Depict, which Anton was also a co-founder of, and was like one of the first YC companies from Sweden.
Hmm.
And like in the last 3 years, we have kind of doubled the amount of YC companies coming out of Sweden. And I think that is a lot because of what like the Pict set, and a lot of the people working at Lovable and co-founding these YC startups are former Depict employees. So I think it's like seeing other people, other from your background, achieve those stuff helps a lot.
I can't even begin to imagine. It must be awesome to look at the world and be like, I know the town you came from. Like, I know a couple of people, and just that proximity gives you the energy to keep building.
Yeah, absolutely.
When uh when you're looking at the ecosystem today, is like for you, do you think that you'll stay on a Lovable long term? It's like where you want to sort of hone the craft of what it means to like be a part of a hyper scalable company, or is like long term? Do you think like because you are incredibly talented, you'll step out and go and do your own thing at some point? Does that come into your mind?
I think yeah, eventually I want to build my own thing, but I mean at the same time I think this is the best place to learn right now. Uh, it's like you don't these kind of companies being as early stage as I've been at these kinds of companies, that doesn't happen like it maybe happens once in a decade or something. So I need to like actually be really care about this, like learning the most. So I think I will stay here for a while, but eventually I will probably start my own thing.
The itch is always there. I'd love to ask, do you like because you are so young, do you bring a different flavor of how you look at the world to the product? Because you talked about like growing up playing Minecraft as an example. Not everyone has done that. And like there are some incredible like growth aspects or sort of nuances of Minecraft that could probably or potentially be applied to the Lovable product. Do you see yourself like using tools or games and things you've interacted with more and more and trying to drag in those experiences into the Lovable product?
Yeah, I think so. I first want to say that a lot of people working at Lovable have played Minecraft as
Oh
kids.
yeah, love it.
um, but yeah, I mean, it's
Mm.
yeah. I think especially I played a lot of chess as a kid, as I said before, and I think that like playing chess is really great as a kid because it's kind of puts you into always planning and being strategic about everything you do and how you think about stuff. And so I think chess has been really helpful in kind of my journey and working at Lovable as well, like how we uh, position ourselves and strategically. Yeah.
How do you look up to any of the Nordic founders? And when you think about these greats, these titans of industry within the context of startups, who do you look at aside from Anton,
Yeah.
obviously?
Yeah. I mean, Anton is great, and I mean, it's obviously like from Sweden we have Daniel Ek, who is really impressive, and I think he kind of stands apart as the only one who's actually built a kind of generational defining company from the Nordics.
Did you use Spotify in the
But
early days?
I mean, I was Spotify had been around for like 4 years.
Do you use it now? Who else outside of the Nordics do you look at and think like, wow, I like the way they think. Wow, they've built an incredible company. I would love to not emulate, but take some of those best learnings.
Like founder, I like to say founder of Singapore because he's been able to take like a country from like absolute poverty, like the cloud they got rejected by everybody, and turn it into this like super ultra modern, really peaceful and great country, and with a lot of culture as well. And I think it's like being pragmatic, and I think he truly like emulates first principle thinking, and like I think Lee Kuan Yew is someone I definitely try to be like.
That is so interesting. I've never looked at it from that perspective. What do you what do you take away from that and apply into your own world?
Um, I, it's I think he talks about it, but it's kind of like always looking at things from different perspectives is very important. So it's very important then to like get as much context from different people as possible to be able to like understand their view, and then like you should first like you should always try to understand other people. And I think like talking to customers is of course like that's the most important thing in a company. And like then you can't just talk to customer, you have to understand the customer and why they're saying stuff. So it's
How do you do that? Aside from like the generic user interview, like how do you get down to the core of like how they use the product, the problems that they have?
yeah, it's I mean it's that's the billion-dollar question, I would say. Uh, but I mean, it's different to everybody, and it's like based on when I come into like if I have a call, we often take at Lovable like random calls with either people in the Discord or someone who has a problem. Like at first, you had no idea what your problem is, and like why they're so mad. But then like as you talk to them and ask more questions based on what they answer, you get into like I think it's just a lot about practice and kind of doing it a lot.
I want to ask you about what you needed growing up to really supercharge this drive. Do you think that the Nordic or the Swedish ecosystem is missing something at an educational level that you missed out on? Do you think it was not enough of the hacker houses? I know that the guys at Wave Ventures are doing, the team at Wave Ventures is doing an incredible job of trying to build out like Founders House. What did you feel like you missed? But you look back now and you're like, oh God, I wish I had that.
Yeah, I think it's very hard for me to like look back at okay what caused this drive, but I can look at back and say like improvements that I would like it when I was. So Sweden, for example, has like obligatory school until 16. And when I was like 14, 15, I was really pissed at like the education system. Like it's it's not built for exceptional people, and it's just built for the average person. I mean, I think if there were more kind of clubs, even at that like age, for really ambitious people, that I think there exist such clubs, but I didn't have access to them, or I didn't know about them. So I think if we could make that more like we should talk more about the exceptional people and try to motivate everybody to do something truly exceptional to help humanity.
No, I feel you. There is a need for exceptional talent, right? Like just to allow them to go and get it done. I think half the fun, or like at least half the chaos, is getting over that curve of society, right?
Yeah,
And you have to go through it to become exceptional. And I think in your case, it was very much one of those situations where, like, at 14, you're ready to cut it out, and like, no, I'm ready to go. And yeah, I truly believe there needs to be more of an outlet. I don't know if dropping out is the right thing to do. Maybe you disagree with me on that, but there is definitely, like, there needs to be almost like an offshoot where you're allowed to go and try and build out these projects, and a space for like titans or
yeah,
to interact with this younger demographic and actively have a conversation and actively have a dialogue. I think that's the beauty of the beauty of the value, right? It's that serendipity that comes into it.
yeah. And I think like the teachers that I talked to at least had a very like tunnel vision, and they were like, you have to go to school and be there for 3 years and do like you can't do what you're doing and yada yada. Like my maths, basically. But it was very hard for them to understand like I want to do this thing, and it's like at that time I was really into like machine learning, and I was like, okay, now I'm learning about the chain rule, and you're sitting here and telling me about like Pythagoras theorem. It's like, what the fuck? Like, why should I be here? And that was really annoying uh, for me. But I mean, I think it should be some, as you say, like some way to just go your own path. And I
And
think like you learn way more if you explore your interests. So.
I've been talking about this a lot offline, and I think it's in the cultural zeitgeist of the world right now. It's like today, it feels safer for you to try and build something, actively go and do entrepreneurship, actively try and build a startup, whatever in whatever context that it might be, and learn on the go, because AI is going to take a huge amount of these roles away, or at least take them away in the sense of all of this manual process that wasn't really valuable is now going to be done by the LLMs. And today there
Yeah,
needs to be more than just value add. needs to be more than just like I just punch numbers in. It's got to be there is something that I've done that I can apply to this logic. And I think you feel the same way.
Yeah. I, I mean, it's kind of contrary to what I've said before, but I think we will have to build a lot of stuff in the physical world and like move away a bit from the world of bits into more into the world of atoms. And so I think if you're not going to build something exceptional, you should get into some kind of physical labor, whether that's a plumber or if construction. I think we need way more construction workers, and I think they should be paid way more. Um, yeah, that's so. I think that's kind of the two paths
Dude, I love the
because
contrarian
most.
take.
Yeah,
It's like I agree. We've optimized for bits and we haven't optimized for atoms. And so like we're playing catch up almost with ourselves. If we've gone so deep into computers and software and technology, well, where's the infrastructure for the road, for the buildings, for steel, etc.? Like why could we need to push that energy and push that capital into those? This has been an absolute pleasure, my friend. I'm looking forward to having an ongoing conversation with you over the course of this show. This has been awesome. I'll see you soon.
yeah.
Thanks for the time. That was Elliot on the